This is the practice quiz for sections 8.3 through 8.5. We're going to take a look at each of these problems one by one just to make sure that we understand how we got our answers and what the answers were. Our first one is an example of the same base with different powers. The rule here says that you add the powers together. So that's 11 to the 5th. Our second one, we once again have the same base, so we're going to add our powers together. That's 5 plus -2 plus -3. Well, that's all those added together is 0, and as you know, anything to the 0 equals 1. So our answer is 1. Our third one, our part C, is an example of a variable that does not have an exponent. Do you know what the exponent would be here? The exponent is actually 1. So what we have is x to the first times x to the second times x to the third. Well, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals x to the 6th. Our fourth example on section 1, we're going to have to group our numbers and group our variables. So I'm going to have our two parenthesis sets, 3 times 2 times 5, x times x to the 6th, and then lastly, y cubed times y to the 10th. 3 times 2 times 5 is 30. X times x to the 6th, don't forget that on that first x there's actually a 1 right there, so that's x to the 7th. And then the third part, we have y cubed and y to the 10th, that's y to the 13th. On problem 2, we have scientific notation that we're asked to simplify. We're going to multiply the numbers in front and then multiply the scientific notation portion at the end or at the back side of each one. So as we look at this first one, we have to think that's 2 times 10 to the 3rd and 4 times 10 to the 5th. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. 10 to the 3rd times 10 to the 5th, we add those exponents and get 10 to the 8th. Looking at our second one, we have 3 times 10 to the 4th and 5 times 10 to the 6th. As we look at this, multiplying together, we have 15 times 10 to the 10th. Now, as you know, you're not allowed to have a number that's greater than 10. So that becomes 1.5. Since the number got smaller, remember the exponent gets bigger. Let's look at our third example over here to the right. 6 times 7 is 42. 10 to the -2, 10 to the -5 is actually 10 to the -7. As we did in the previous problem, 42 is not acceptable as a solution. So our answer is going to be 4.2. What happened to our number? It got smaller. So our exponent gets larger. Larger than -7 is -6.